Hello everyone. Today we will see how to use the ISD SaaS trial instance. After registering for the free SaaS trial instance on www.opsmx.com, you would receive an email on your registered email ID with the following details. Login ID to the SaaS trial instance. Password. URL of the SaaS trial instance. Link to the documentation page for ISD SaaS trial users. So here is the link of the SaaS trial instance as you see on my screen, and this is where I provide the login credentials and click on the login button. Before we move ahead with the demo, let me tell you that the SaaS trial instance is bundled with a sample application, a sample pipeline, a sample Kubernetes cluster and a sample image that you can deploy to that Kubernetes cluster. The sample pipeline is pre-configured with a sample approval gate and a sample policy gate. The first page that we get into is the application dashboard. At the top of the dashboard you would see some metrics. You can know more about these numbers in the SaaS trial documentation page, the link to which is provided in the email. Then in the application dashboard page you see the list of all the applications that you have access to. Click on the application name and it would display the list of services, also known as pipelines, that applications has. This application is the sample application that bundled with your SaaS trial instance, and this pipeline is the sample pipeline with the sample approval and policy gate. To run this pipeline, click on the Start Deployment button and let's see what happens. It asks me few details. Let me fill in the application name. Select the pipeline for that application. And let me select the other parameters for the pipeline, like image tag etc. and let's go. The pipeline execution begins and you go to a new page which shows the pipeline stages. This stage is currently being executed. In a while you would now see that the pipeline execution halts at this stage. Click on this stage and it will take you to the approval page of this stage. To know more about approval gate and its importance, please follow the documentation link provided to you in the email. For now let's proceed with the demo. For the pipeline execution to proceed you need to make a decision. Either approval this gate for the pipeline execution to move forward or reject this gate for the pipeline to halt and terminate. The question here is, how do I know whether to approve or reject this gate? This approval gate is configured with parameters and the data about those parameters is shown below in the approval page here. You can analyze this data to decide whether your pipeline is good to proceed or you need to terminate the pipeline here itself. For now, let's assume the data provided here looks okay, and we are good to move ahead with the execution of the pipeline. Hence I click the Approve button here. It wants me to put in the approval comments, of course optional, but for record's sake let me put some comments here and proceed. Remember, if you reject even then you would be prompted to enter some comments, and it's always a good practice to enter the approval or rejection comments, so that during the pipeline audits you can check what were the reasons, comments for someone to approve or reject the gate. Since we have approved the gate, the execution now proceeds with the next stage as you see. Now comes to the policy gate as the next stage. There is a sample policy embedded in this stage and it would verify whether the condition specified in the policy is met or not. If the condition is met then the policy gate would move forward with the next stage of the pipeline, or else the pipeline would terminate. Let's wait and see what happens. Well, looks like the condition in the policy is met and the pipeline execution proceeds to the next stage. Let's click on the next stage and see what this stage is about. This is a deployment stage, and this is the stage when actually the sample image that came along with your ISD SaaS trial instance would be deployed to the Kubernetes cluster. If the deployment fails then the pipeline would terminate here. Otherwise the pipeline would proceed if the deployment is successful. In this case, we see the deployment completed and the pipeline ends here. You can create new applications, create pipelines for these applications. You can configure pipelines with different stages you need and trigger them for execution. So guys, we see how seamless it is. Browse through the applications you have access to, how to execute the pipeline, and how ISD uses the intelligent gates to control the progression of the pipeline execution. Finally, if you have any queries, feel free to reach out to OpsMx SaaS help at opsmx.io and we will be happy to help you. Thank you.